Remember, there's some pretty important information here in the disclaimer. You might want to give the video a quick pause and read it.
Hello my friends, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a custom figure. This is for James, and it is Drew the Half Skydragon. Now, Drew is a pretty unique character in that it's something that I don't think I've seen before, a Shantae OC. So yeah, this would be like a guy from the world of Shantae. Yeah, the half genie hero, that's Shantae. Now, I've made Shantae customs before, but I do believe this is the first time I'm, making an OC for that franchise. I didn't even really think that there were Shantae OCs out there, but here we go. It's kind of funny, being like a half Skydragon, it makes me think he's supposed to be one of the enemies from the game, but you ever notice when you're playing Shantae, all the overworld enemies you fight are monster girls? And there had to be monster men, but the only monster characters that appear to be male are named characters, like the Barons or the zombie people. You never really just see male monsters on the overworld map. Kind of makes me feel bad that I'm, killing a whole bunch of cute things in that game, but I guess since you're playing a girl, it's okay? I don't know how the standard goes, and I feel like I shouldn't elaborate on that because I might be treading dangerous waters. Let's get to making a Skydragon here. Now, the base figure is going to be Aladdin. I do believe this is a spare Aladdin that I had left over that I was planning on using to make into a Surge figure until I realized that he was too big, and I got the smaller Aladdin figure to make Surge. So kind of just had this lying around, and when he says, "Hey, I want to make this guy," I'm like, "Oh, hey, I have the perfect base figure for that guy." I'm like, "Yay!" Of course, anyone who follows me on Patreon knows that it took me quite a long time to actually make this thing. I think it took me 3 or 4 months. That's because, although in concept it wasn't that complicated, in practice there was a lot of stuff that I had to do that I don't normally or haven't done in a while. You'll see as I progress. Alright, so, first dismantling, the Aladdin figure comes apart this much, and look at his head down there. I was actually surprised to find out that his hair is a separate piece that is not part of the head sculpt. They made the head, and then they made the hair as a separate thing that wrapped around it, and I don't know, it's just kind of funny, because when you take it off, it just looks like a misshapen, lumpy elephant man head with a very handsome face. So then came the modification. I did try my dyeing effect with this figure. This time it was a very light dyeing since he only had to be a light brown. The skin tone was slightly darker brown than Aladdin's natural skin tone. It was mostly that the pants had to be a shade of brown, and Aladdin's pants are white, so I figured, this could probably work. Partial success. I mean, at least the dye didn't leak through the paint this time. So yeah, whole bunch of hand sculpting was involved in this figure. On the torso, I put these little pouches that are on either side of his belt, and then the big thing had to be his tail. Now, a tail this size wouldn't be able to hold up its own weight if it was, epoxy. So it's actually mostly aluminum, with just the thin veneer of epoxy applied on top of it, to keep the weight down so that the tail doesn't overpower the hip joints. Which is good because the tail doesn't actually touch the ground, so he can't really tripod on it. So attached to the back, we have a big old dragon tail, and he even has that little rudder fin thing that goes on there. So yeah, that's the tail, and it's painted green with a darker green for the fin and a lighter green for the underbelly part is what I guess it would be described as the underbelly. And then there was some sculpting that went on to the hands and feet. For the feet, this was mostly just giving him his big dragon claws, and same thing for the hands. Although I did also sculpt on the forearms to make the scaly parts of his arms. Again, that's just something that had to be painted. It's various shades of green with some black for the claw tips. Now, the really extensive sculpting went into the head. I did start around Aladdin's head. Drew did say that Aladdin's face wasn't quite the right shape for his character. Seeing this drawing that he made, Drew has more of a squared off chin. The thing is, making a human-like face is something that's really hard. I don't have the 3D modeling skills to make a face like this, that I could print. And, hand sculpting it from scratch, it just wouldn't do. I don't really have the tools or the fine, skill to make details like the eyes and mouth and, the nose, so I really had to rely on starting with Aladdin's face and just building the elements around it. Things such as his hair, his little fin ears, those spines that go down the middle, and his horns, goggles, a whole bunch of details is what I'm getting at. I could sculpt details around the face. The one thing I couldn't make, of course, was the face itself. I mean, little fangs, because, Drew does have fangs. It's just that here he's giving a big open tooth grin instead of a closed mouth smile like in the concept art. But yeah, that's how I turned Aladdin's face into Drew's face. So yeah, just taking a quick look at what Drew looked like so far. It's funny, he calls it a half Skydragon. Isn't there, a term, a fantasy term for humanoid dragon people? I feel like there is one. Is it, something to the effect of dragonkin or a dragonute? Something like that? I feel like in Monster Musume, one of the characters was a dragon girl who called herself a dragonute. And, she had, a crush on Mia. Am I out there? I feel like dragonute is the proper term, but then I'm going by an anime, so maybe D&D has a different word for it. Let me know in the comments below if there's a technical term for a humanoid dragon person. Is that what an Argonian is? I never played anything from the the Elder Scrolls series. I never played any Elder Scrolls games, but I feel like Argonian, or are Argonians just lizard people, not dragon people? Again, in the comments, let me know below. This is actual nerd lore you might be interested in. So at this point, the only thing left to do is wings. And I actually revived the technique I used to make Ridley's wings way back in the day. I trace out the entire shape of the wing and cut that out of some craft foam. Then I cut out the pieces that would be the skin that goes between the wing fingers and paint them separately. Then I glue them back in. This may seem like I added an unnecessary step, cutting them out if I'm just going to glue them back in again, but this creates seams, natural seams that make it look like the fingers have a certain amount of relief against the skin. So it adds an effect without having to actually sculpt pieces or make a whole 3D ass shape. Because a big flat thing like this is actually very difficult to 3D print because it wants to snap in half as soon as I attach it to something, trust me. And I cut 2 slots in the back of the vest so there will be good anchoring points for when I glued these back on. Making the wings out of craft foam has the dual advantage of not making the figure any back heavier than it needs to be. The tail already does enough of that. And also, since the craft foam is flexible, you don't have to worry about accidentally snapping them off like if they were made out of plastic. And that is Drew. Yay! James, I want to thank you very much for your patience because I know it took me a long time to make this thing. I believe I first dismantled that Aladdin figure before Easter, I think. And now here it is halfway through June and it's finally done. But Yeah, that's like that's what happens when everything is hand sculpted and it's not something that I'm used to, working on. I can bang out Sonic characters much faster because I'm so much more familiar with Sonic, but once I actually have to go outside my comfort zone, like, I don't know, I just feel like I gotta double check all my work to make sure I don't make any mistakes or something to that effect. Alright, so this has been going on a bit longer than it really should have. So thank you all for watching the video. This is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Sonic the Hedgehog. Just here to remind you that if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. And for even more amazing customs, don't forget to subscribe to Wake Angel 2001. Because between you and me, they're way past cool.